Remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder treason and plot. I know of no reason why the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot.
Voila! In view, a humble vaudevillian veteran, cast vicariously.
He's a very complex character. I think that's one of the enduring strengths of it. The thing that I really like about Vendetta as coming out of Matrix in this interrogation of our hero narratives, right?
It presents itself as one thing, but like once, which is this kind of, it's not really a superhero movie, right? It's like an anti-superhero movie.
I love the way that the beginning of the movie opens with the mask, and there's the subjectivity of putting on the mask and seeing through his eyes. The movie says, okay, let's look at the world through this guy's eyes, and he's been hurt and he's been tortured, and you are V.
He looked at me, not with eyes. There were no eyes, but I know he was looking at me because I felt it.
That's reversing the moral position. The superhero is the source of morality and justice, and it's this singular point of view. It's this Nietzschean point of view, and V was saying, no, the justice of V comes from the people. The people, I don't know, it's the people in terms of the weakest people in the society. How do you judge the morality of a society? How it treats the weakest members of a society, the victims of the society. And that's why they're all included, why they're alive in the end. Their perspective, the mask is the symbol of the perspective. And they are united in this idea that there's something wrong with the society.
Yeah. I don't think you get the depth of that intellectual conversation that V was trying to have at the time that it was made, in the environment that it was made, right? Because it was anti all that discussion.
That's even like a little magical part of the V phenomenon, is that so many people ended up playing V in the movie, in which this main character comes to symbolize sort of a multiplicity of perspectives.
Like one, right?
He's actually played by Dave Leeds and Hugo and another stunt guy and Chad and
another actor.
And they're all like V in the same way we all have some of V in us.
The instinct was, can you bring those characters back? Can you bring Dietrich back? Can you bring the little girl who,
that was a big, we did like, can you
the victims and bring them
stand
back?
there again?
Yeah. But I think that's, if you have the victim standing there, then that's the thing that like really cuts through to the core.
Yeah, I remember, that's right, we were rushing around and everyone was like, how can you be scheduling these people? They're dead. Why are they on the call list? And we're like, I think it's important. I think. And we weren't sure. And then when we started cutting it, like...
Oh, yeah.
My brother. Here's you. Here's all of us.
That, I think, is what really connects with the celebration of dissent. The movie celebrates dissent. How many perspectives do you take into account when you are deciding what's right for your society? Sound bites, Lana.
Really good sound bite, Lana. Really good.
Good long sound bite.
Good, yeah.
I tried.
Can you sum that up in 4 words?
Verily, this vichyssoise of verbiage veers most verbose, so let me simply add that it's my very good honor to meet you, and you may call me V.
Are you like a crazy person?
It was a fun movie to make, and made it with so many incredibly talented people. Natalie is sensational in the movie.
Yeah.
I love her. I was just watching, and as a filmmaker, I really love great reaction shots. Like when I watch a film and I see an actor who has no line, but gives so much. I mean, most of the way that we communicate is with our bodies. And great actors just put so much without ever saying lines. I mean, it's like really interesting because you have Hugo Weaving who has to act with a frozen mask, which was very challenging, and you give up this very expressive, instrument, the face, which is, also so much of our communication. And at the same time, Natalie has, some of the fewest lines in a way. She gets so many speeches at her, and she has to participate with just these beautiful, subtle, some of them are big and some of them are funny, but some of them are just so much emotion pours out of her.
I think she really intuitively understood the material. And Hugo was like amazing. Even Hugo in a mask, right? Like Hugo comes like from theatre, he comes from, mask work, Noe theatre, like all those, mask things that you get to do. And I remember the first day he came in and...
Hugo and Natalie hadn't really met each other. And he came in, and the first scene they did together was the scene where she comes out of the torture and realizes this guy's been torturing her.
Yeah.
And I think it was very smart of you to sort of not bring them together beforehand. And that has so much weirdness in it that I think is also based on the fact that they're strangers, right? She's literally with a stranger.
And I think that, she didn't know what that was going to be, and his body language was sort of so like casual and wound her up. That scene has like amazing kind of peaks and troughs of emotion.
You tortured me.
Every day I wanted to end it, but each time you refused to give in. I knew I couldn't.
You're sick.
The way she expressed it was pretty amazing. I mean, like all the way through that sequence up until when they come up onto the roof, right? I think, they're like two really great actors. I think there's some things that you couldn't do again. We shut down all of Whitehall to Trafalgar Square. But even then, the government was paranoid around that. When we brought all the V's out, and they came marching down Whitehall to Trafalgar Square, they had like snipers up on the roof. I mean, that was their level of, okay, 500, 600 people in mass descending on Trafalgar Square. It was like something that they were worried about.
My friend Tom Pickford was calling me, and he was remembering when he first saw Vendetta. He saw it in Amsterdam, and he called me the minute he walked out of the theater, and he was like, how did you get this movie made? It's insane. The speech in there that I like so much where he talks about the building as a symbol. I think it's kind of one of those strange destiny things that I had been obsessed with Babelsberg, and I had thought about coming here for the trilogy initially because Metropolis had been made here, and I've always been obsessed with Metropolis. And Billy Wilder started here, and Lubitsch started here, and it's sort of like the mecca of filmmaking. It started as this place to make art, and some of the art it made was some of the most important early films for our art form, and then it got taken over by the Nazis, right? And the meaning of the buildings and the meaning of the art they made here changed dramatically. And then, of course, the Soviets took it over, and it became another sort of propaganda machine.
The building is a symbol, as is the act of destroying it. Symbols are given power by people. Alone, a symbol is meaningless, but with enough people, blowing up a building can change the world.
It's a great metaphor for art. People have invested in the mask and given the mask a power that wasn't there. And we didn't create it, it was created by people.
I'm sitting here talking in, 2020, and we're in the
How
midst...
crazy. The story is like 2020 when it comes, and there's like the virus and the mask.
So much chaos, someone will do something stupid.
Rioters were arrested in Brixton.
And then Sutler will be forced to do the only thing he knows how to do.
An authoritarian government is something that we always go back to. And I think it was really pushed to that level in the UK at that time, because it was on the back of the Falklands War, it was on the back of, dismantling of Fleet Street, which is the press.
I remember how the meaning of words began to change, how unfamiliar words like collateral and rendition became frightening. I remember how different became dangerous.
Clause 28, which was like forbidding any homosexual,
Yeah, they were talking
expression.
about camps for
Yeah, camps, putting people in camps.
AIDS. After the trilogy, I had started coming out, and I realized how intensely personal some of the story was at that time period. Even the LGBT community was kind of othering trans people. And it was scary. It was a scary time to be coming out.
I still don't understand it. Why they hate us so much.
And I remember like Stephen Fry saying, I've been waiting my whole life for a role like this, And it was for him then, even back then, even though it's like the mid-2000s, it was still controversial for him to, come out and like be gay, or like his character, be gay.
The truth is, after so many years, you begin to lose more than just your appetite. You wear a mask for so long, you forget who you were beneath it.
It's pure expression as in the Valerie letter. The catalyst which turns V, turns Phoebe, that's really the heart of the movie.
What I hope most of all is that you understand what I mean when I tell you that even though I do not know you, I love you.
It's an empathetic exercise. It's an exercise of otherness, right? To engage with art is to engage with something, a perspective other than your own.
She was real.
Yes.
She's beautiful. Did you know her?
No. She wrote the letter just before she died, and I delivered it to you as it had been delivered to me.
Then it really happened, didn't it?
Yes.
I can give you the mirror reflecting straight back on the art. When we handed in the cut of that movie, the only thing they asked for, do you think you can take out the Valerie story? That is purely because the Valerie story happens with another woman. And I just went, no. And they went, oh, okay. And that was it. That was, but the fact that, I guess my point is the fact that they went for that, right? Like out of all the movie, out of all the things that V does, out of all the discussions that happened within that movie, I found it like super extraordinary that was the thing.
The heart of the movie.
The heart.
The heart of the movie.
Yeah.
Do we need this? I'm amazed that I write the same story over and over.
It's all right. I make the same film about revenge all the time.